Time to round up one of our big stories of the week. As the March 31st enrollment deadline approaches, there are new questions about the operation of one big part of the Obamacare website. It's the part of the healthcare.gov that connects with insurance companies. As recently as 2 weeks ago, the White House predicted the whole thing could collapse if the two-way connection wasn't fixed. But little progress has been made to correct the problem. Right now, the government says it's using a workaround to get that information to insurers, but that's only temporary. The White House says about 6 million people have signed up, 1 million short of the original goal. Full numbers won't be known for some time. So is Obamacare still working? Well, that's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you. We're reading your comments on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also send me a tweet at Sally Mack, Fox 26. In our newsroom again is our legal analyst, Chris Tridico, public policy analyst, Jackie Bally, and news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz. All right, what do you guys think about this right now as the clock is ticking?
Well, the government was hoping for 7 million. They reduced that number at the end of last year when they couldn't get the web page working properly, and so they're really getting close to the number that the government says we need to pay for this. I still don't know the numbers on how many young people have signed up, which is really the key to the whole thing working correctly. The question really isn't is it working, but is there enough people signed up now, 6 million people, that the Republicans really can't cancel it anymore?
Whenever Sally said, is it still working, it was never working.
I knew you were going to say that.
Just to answer that question. And Chris, I always think of you because they're saying that 30% of this website is still not in operation mode. And like you always say, how many years does it take to build a website?
It's the silliest thing I've ever seen.
Look, the $6 million that's coming from the administration,
6 million people.
I'm sorry, 6 million people, that's coming, the number that's coming from the administration, everyone's saying at least 20% of that number haven't even paid. Then you have to put on another 5% that paid maybe one time. They're not making additional payments. Then you're looking at the number in the 6 million, how many of them were actually dropped originally because of Obamacare and then they came back. So the 6 million people, there are so many unknowns that we won't know if it's actually effective, if it's working, to go back to Sally's question. We don't know how many of the younger people, which is a key. Two factors that we need to make sure. We need the healthy, we need the young, and we need people to actually pay. And the signs are showing, and a lot of insurance companies are telling us, people are not paying.
Well, and time will tell on that. I mean, there hadn't been enough time, I think, to determine if they're going to continue paying or not. I saw two very interesting polls this week that were divergent. 29% of the American public now thinks that Obamacare is only 29% agree with the law. But over 50% of the people say, don't kill it, just modify it. Those are at loggerheads.
Well, it's nice to talk about polls and numbers, right? But the reality is close to 100,000, or probably well over 100,000 people in Harris County have signed up for Obamacare. That means that 100,000 families will have access to health care and insurance that they have never had in their life before. Now think about that. If you have a family member that has cancer, if you have diabetes, if you've got heart disease, your father, your mother, your sister, your brother might be able to get the care that they need, living in a town where the largest medical center in the world is just a few blocks away from where you live, and were never be able to access that. That is what we have to focus on. I think that the other side has made Obamacare into this boogeyman as to something harmful, something government takeover. In reality, they're signing up for healthcare through an insurance company. Most of these people that have signed up are going to get Blue Cross Blue Shield, not the federal government. So we have to get past the rhetoric and help make this work.
I want you to answer that in a minute, but I got to go to Sally right now. She's monitoring our social media, which I know there's a whole lot of comments on this.
Yeah, we asked folks this morning, have you signed up? Why or why not? Paula says, I have not and will not sign up. I will not be forced by my government to purchase something I don't want or need. Peggy says, I bought insurance through a private agency, not Obamacare, after she went online and she says she saw their, quote, ridiculous premiums, copays, deductibles. And then Ben on Twitter just wrote in, 5 million lost their health insurance, 6 million have enrolled. What percentage of the 6 million signed up for Medicaid?
Well, we don't know the answer to that, and that'll be probably later this year before we get that. Those two people that you talked about, though, you know, I'm not going to sign up for something the government's not going to make me. Well, that person is going to have to pay a penalty.
95 bucks.
It's not $95, I found out.
And the
I was
problem
looking
is
at
that
that.
they don't need it.
It's,
right?
yeah, it's based on your income. And the higher your income, the higher the penalty. It could be up to $3,000.
Well, the number that the government is throwing around and that we've heard constantly
Right.
is 95 bucks. And to go back to Mustafa's point that you said you wanted me to address, that's a fallacy. We don't know if the 100,000 that in Harris County did not have insurance before and
So
were
if
dropped.
25,000
We
people
don't-
have health insurance, is that a bad
You
thing?
made your point. Let me finish mine. We don't know if the 100,000 are actually new people who are being insured. We don't know if they were dropped, because a lot of people, when they signed up originally, they were dropped from their original insurance companies. So those are numbers we don't know. We don't have those numbers yet. That's my first point. The second point is, it's not that we're calling it the boogeyman. We don't like socialized medicine. We don't like I mean, that's not what we are here for. And so we're not saying that we don't want people to be insured. We're saying that there's general opposition because there were promises that were made with this legislation. We all know it's not happening. So just because we're opposed to it
It'd
does
be
not
good
mean that.
if you would let me finish, because it's one thing to say let me finish speaking and then finish out the segment. So
No, but
it's
you made
not
your
social-
point and he asked me to counter.
Real quick.
That's what I did.
Real quick. Last thought.
When we talk about socialized medicine, people are purchasing health insurance through insurance companies. So when people are buying through Obamacare, they're getting Blue Cross Blue Shield, they're getting Aetna, they're getting companies. So the notion that this is a federal company, it's going through a portal that is a federal
To
portal.
a private company. And I wanted to say that about that that viewer, Sally, there. You're not buying Obamacare, you're just going to an insurance company. The numbers are the same regardless of how you get there.
All right, we are out of time. We appreciate it, guys. We'll see you next Sunday.
All right.